Welcome to the show, everybody. StacyOnTheRight.com, UrbanFamilyTalk.com. If you want to laugh, you should go in the Turbine as well, because the memes have just exploded. They're random memes, some of them. I guess people are lightening the mood from our last interview, and I can't even begin to tell you. But right now, it is my pleasure to welcome Tim Schmidt, the president of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, to the program to talk about Representative Hudson introducing the National Concealed Carry Reciprocity Bill. Thanks for coming on today, Tim.
Hello, Stacy. It's an honor to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this because my husband and I both have our concealed carry licenses in the state of Missouri, and we have a good number of states that are reciprocal with us as Missourians, but we do live right next to Illinois, which is not a reciprocal state, and it's very difficult to get a concealed carry permit there. And it's also, there's no liberty there on the Second Amendment. They do as much infringing as they can get away with. And so this bill would take away all of that. It's just nonsense. We would have a normal environment. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so you're dead on right in the sense that, this bill is all about freedom. And, the ultimate freedom is to be able to protect and defend your family and loved ones, and that shouldn't stop at as you're driving into some new state. And so ultimately what this is going to do is it's going to force each state to have reciprocity with all the other states. So the concealed carry laws would now work just like a driver's license, right? You and I drive around in our home states, and when we drive next door, we don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, can I legally drive in this state? So it's really going to add that next level of freedom to the responsible gun owners in this country, and I personally am very excited about this.
Me too. When I looked at first of all, the analogy that you made helps people to understand it absolutely at the most basic level. We would not tolerate being able to drive in Missouri and because all the roads connect. So you barely remember. Sometimes you drive through the tip of a state. You don't even realize you've been through it until you see the sign, welcome back into Tennessee. So all the roads are the same. All of the driving parameters are the same. You need to be licensed. You need to have insurance. Your car needs to be registered. Once you satisfy all of that and you pass the test, then you're good to go everywhere. And they didn't have trouble figuring out what the basic minimum standards needed to be for driving. So why should we have any kind of discussion or disagreement on what the basic minimum standards are for concealed carry?
Exactly, Stacey. And let me tell you a story that will make it's going to bother you because there's actually people that get caught up in these laws right now. So we had a customer, one of our USCCA members who lives in Pennsylvania, completely upstanding, legally carrying citizen. He's works in construction. He's driving home. He has to, he gets some detour. He has to swing like a half of a mile through New Jersey. So now technically he's breaking the law, and all of a sudden he sees a motorist who's on the side of the road and needs some help. He pulls over, being the good Samaritan, to help this person. 5 minutes later, as he's helping the person, somebody runs into his truck. Now the police show up. They find his gun. They take him to jail. It's just insane. And here this guy not only was he an upstanding, legally carrying citizen, but now he's the good Samaritan doing the right thing. And that's what this law is going to prevent from happening.
And I bet you, dollars to donuts, there are so many more stories like that, Tim. If you found one story like that, there have to be thousands where people were just doing within the law, but not within the law on having their firearm. Because I know in Illinois, the firearm has to be locked in the trunk, and the ammunition has to be locked in your glove compartment box, so as far away from each other as they can possibly be. So it's not carrying it concealed. It's moving a firearm through the state of Illinois, making sure that the ammunition is as far away from it as possible. And out of all of these things we're discussing, remember, the criminals never agree. They never follow these rules.
Exactly. And of course, it's states like Illinois that are practically the murder capital of the country, and they're the ones that have these ridiculous laws. And of course, the only people that follow them are the good guys. And it's absolutely insane that you can't be a free American in Illinois. You just can't.
No, you can't. But it's not just Illinois. I think there are some weird, things in California. There are other states that are just absolutely anti-gun. So let's talk a little bit about the Supreme Court picks, because with all of the different issues, I don't even pretend that we're going to find someone who's perfect on all of these issues, but we're looking for a constitutional, a jurist who believes that the Constitution is as it's written, not someone who believes in a living, breathing document. If we just have that as our criteria, will that person be someone who would see this through?
Certainly, 100%. And I can only hope that our new president, Donald Trump, backs up the words with his actions. And he's gone on record, Stacey, saying that he believes that the Second Amendment simply affirms the natural-born right to self-defense, and so therefore, by definition, I mean he's going to have to pick a jurist that follows through on that. And I'm just crossing my fingers, just like every other responsible gun owner, that he does the right thing.
So let's talk a little bit about what the bill does. So they drew the bill up, and this is Representative Hudson. And he is Richard Hudson, Republican, North Carolina. He introduced the bill on Tuesday. So this is like you start 2017 with a bang. But it mostly mirrors other national reciprocity bills introduced by Hudson in previous years. But this bill adds language designed to ensure that those in constitutional carry states where no permit is required to conceal carry are protected by the legislation. Now that's interesting. That's a new addition.
Yeah, that's fascinating, and from my perspective, I love that. I mean, it's taking freedom to that next level, and I certainly don't mean to overuse that word, but it's the word that really perfectly describes what's going on here. I mean, free people have the ability to protect and to defend themselves with the most effective tool, and the most effective tool is a firearm. And so I think that's a fantastic provision, and it's gutsy. But I think it'll go through. Okay,
so now let's talk a little bit, because we have some more time here, and I want to get your take on it. This article mentions constitutional carry. The state of Missouri just passed a bill very similar to this, where if you're in a place where you can carry openly, you can carry concealed without a permit, and it's something that. Basically, it kind of opens up a little can of worms, because if you have to really be aware of what municipality you're in and what the law is there before you just start carrying concealed willy-nilly without a permit. And my big deal with all of it is that I feel like more training is so much better than less. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, Stacey, that's such a great point. And it's something that's really near and dear to the USCCA's position and our heart, because we're all about education and training. Because quite frankly, if you take care of the education and training, if you truly understand conflict avoidance and conflict de-escalation and detecting bad situations, you'll never have to use your gun. And so you're totally right on that. But here's maybe where I take a slightly different take on this. So I personally think that when the government sets forth a level of training that's required, now invariably it's never going to be enough. Right, and so really, what you're doing is you're giving people false confidence that they're properly trained. Oh, I went and got my 6-hour training class or my even 8-hour training class, and I'm good. And you and I both know that to be a responsibly armed citizen, you need to train on a regular basis. You need to go to some immersive training, and that will never be mandated. And so I really kind of. I believe that carrying a gun is a tremendous responsibility, and one of those responsibilities is to get that training on your own.
And that's what I've been advocating for here on the program, to encourage people to go to the range more often, get more training with your firearm, to get that concealed carry as a door opener, like basically, okay, I'm opening the door to this. I'm going to get the concealed carry class. And it also opens you up for connecting with the trainer of the class. They become a resource for you. The other instructors you encounter during the day, they're resources for you, because they usually hand out their business cards at the end of the day. Right, and then you also are at the range for the first time. You can buy a membership to the range, or you can find out when they have, for me, it's like ladies' night. Can I go with my girlfriends? Well, they have that once a week on Tuesday night. So you find out a whole lot of stuff by going to the concealed carry class that opens the door for you to then, as you said, get that immersive training, get in there and get some more, so you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, and the main goal, or the ultimate goal, is for it to become a lifestyle. being a responsible armed citizen, carrying a gun on a regular basis is a complete lifestyle change. And the neat thing, though, is that it's a very empowering lifestyle change, and ultimately it puts you in that position to be that front line of defense for your loved ones, for your family, when, God forbid, you're in that situation and you have to do it.
Well, the situation from today, 5 shot dead at the Fort Lauderdale airport. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, so liberals always say to me, well, Stacey, if no good guy with a gun there. Well, all of our airports are gun-free zones, so there's only security there. They have guns, but a lot of the security at the airports, sometimes they look like they're 100 years old, like they couldn't chase me down. So you know what I mean? Like you're wondering, is this the person that's supposed to stand between us and a terrorist? They're sitting in a chair by the entrance that says, "Do not, not an entry point. Go around to TSA," and you're walking out because that's the way you're going if you're incoming, and you see the person sitting there. They're like 100 years old.
Exactly, and the first thing I'll say, Stacey, is that my heart just breaks and goes out to the victims, to the family of the victims, and I feel terrible for them. But you're right. I mean, airports are gun-free zones, so therefore, I mean, the point I make is that, I mean, it's like the perfect target. It's the perfect place to go for the evil person to do as much damage as possible. I'm reading some of these reports, and the gunman actually had time to sit there and reload his handgun while people were standing around just ultimately being victims. And this goes back to the point that I made before, and I feel that I sense that you're on the same page with me, and that is that, the first line of defense needs to be with you. You're the one that ultimately is responsible for your own safety, and if you're relying on the police, then, like the old saying goes, when seconds count, they're minutes away. So.
Especially if the person that is supposed to be defending you doesn't have a gun at all. So next time I go to the airport, I'm going to be looking, right? Okay, so Tim, I'm going to be looking and maybe keeping a mental count of how many people I encounter once I hit the TSA zone, how many people I saw there who had firearms. And if it's not every single one of them, you got to ask yourself, what are they really doing? They're taking away your yogurt. They're taking away your bottle of water. Even if it's a little chubby, it can't go through. You know what I mean? I've had them take a Phase yogurt. I found a lime-flavored Phase yogurt, the last one at the grocery store, put it in my purse, didn't eat it in the car on the way to the airport. I get to the TSA. It makes my purse go off. He takes it out, and he says, "This can't go through." I said, "Oh, my goodness, it's lime-flavored." He said, "You can stand here and eat it, or I'm throwing it away." And I looked at that guy, and he was as serious as a heart attack, and I had to let him throw it out because I didn't want to stand there and eat it in front of, there were like 600 people waiting. So I suffice it to say that yogurt could not have done any damage, but where are their guns? What is going on in this country? I thank you so much for the work that you're doing with the Concealed Carry Association, and especially getting the word out about this bill. If you live in a state that's anti-Second Amendment, you should contact your state your senators and your representatives or congressmen and let them know you'll remember their vote on this when the midterms comes. And thank you, Tim, for the work that you do online and everywhere for the Second Amendment.
My pleasure, Stacey. Thank you, and God bless.
God bless.